Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for their time and testimony today. I'm honored to be joining the Ways and Means Committee with a shared goal. That's to drive forward an economic agenda that ensures the United States remains the global economic leader. Today, we are here to discuss the need to make the Trump tax cuts for working families permanent, ensuring prosperity for families and businesses across the nation. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, championed by President Trump, was a transformative bill that provided much-needed relief to businesses and spurred investment across the country, as we have heard here today. It reduced the corporate tax rate, introduced full expensing for equipment purchases, and created a business environment that encouraged growth, innovation, and greater global competition. These provisions gave companies the certainty to reinvest in their operations, hire workers, and strengthen their local communities. I proudly represent Ohio's 7th Congressional District, a region with a strong manufacturing and agricultural backbone. These policies drove significant job creation and economic revitalization to the area. Small businesses and farmers all benefited from the ability to reinvest their capital savings, expand their operations, and provide good-paying jobs for hardworking Ohioans. But it wasn't just businesses that saw the benefits of this historic legislation. For individual taxpayers, the Act expanded the standard deduction, simplifying tax filing and putting more money back into the pockets of working families. This simplification was transformative, especially in working-class communities where most taxpayers claim the standard deduction. By eliminating the need for a complex and time-consuming itemization process, the expanded standard deduction has made tax season far more efficient and far less stressful for millions of Americans. In my district alone, 93% of taxpayers and families claim the standard deduction when filing their taxes and underscoring its vital role in simplifying their financial interactions with the government. Maintaining the current standard deduction levels allows families to focus on their priorities, whether saving for the future or supporting their children or investing in their homes while enjoying greater financial security. Ms. Gallagher, we know that the increased standard deduction significantly boosts disposable income for families, directly benefiting individual taxpayers. However, it's clear to me that the advantages for households and businesses are deeply interconnected, as stronger household finances drive broader economic growth and support local businesses. Can you please comment on how the standard deduction affects disposable income for families, and have you observed any indirect impacts on small businesses or local economies with high reliance on this deduction?
Thank you for that question, my fellow Midwesterner. Absolutely, the standard deduction has been a life changer for individuals and, frankly, my fellow tax preparers. As you were talking about tax season being made so much easier, for me, my staff, it has been a tremendous help from that perspective. The taxpayers, however, on that side, have received significant tax savings. Many of them were far under that level even when they itemized. And so the standard deduction gave them increased deduction, i.e. less taxes to pay, and more money in their pocket to contribute to their communities and to their own households. So I absolutely saw a direct impact on individuals and small businesses in my communities.
Thank you for that answer, and I have as well. And as I will just restate, 93% of our constituents in the 7th District of Ohio use standard deduction. Ms. Silver, in your opening testimony, you highlighted how small and medium-sized manufacturers are leveraging the current TCJA and tax benefits to reinvest in their local communities and expand their workforce. However, with many of these provisions set to expire at the end of this year, we face the potential loss of nearly 250,000 jobs just in my home state of Ohio, as Congressman Kerry earlier mentioned that to my right. Could you elaborate on the specific negative impacts that businesses like yours and others across the country would encounter if these critical tax benefits are allowed to expire?
Well, I can answer that by saying that, so I'll expand upon what I've been able to do because of TCJA. So when you think about that, it's like, I'm not gonna be able to do this stuff when these tax policies expire. So one example is I was able to use the 199A pass-through deduction to reinvest in my company. We bought our first collaborative robot. It is integrated with one of our lathes. It's 2 spindles. It allows us to run this machine unattended at night. So it increases my throughput, my productivity, and so much so I was able to go to my customer in the fluid motion control industry, come down on his price, and then still have a healthy profit myself. So it was a win-win for the manufacturing supply chain that I was able to use that deduction to reinvest in my company. So if it expires, these are the things I can't do. I also can give you another example if you like.
It's up to the chairman.
Okay.
All right, yes, ma'am.
We created a high school internship program. It is a job shadowing program. Our local high school is 100% of the students are economically disadvantaged, and it allows the students to come in and job shadow on the factory floor. These are students that have never been exposed to manufacturing before. And I've bought equipment so they can train on this, and it's impacted our community, it's impacted our culture, and now I have two full-time apprentices learning the machining trade.
Thank you for sharing that, Ms. Silver. I'm out of time, but thank you for sharing that with the American people. I truly appreciate your testimony and all the witnesses here today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.